Let me tell you a secret about tech that nobody likes to talk about. The highest paying jobs on tech are not the cool ones. They're not flashy, they're not talked about on Twitter, and they're definitely not a job that your friends brag about. They are boring, they are super necessary, and that's exactly why they pay so well. Because while everybody's chasing passion and AI and working at some really fancy schmancy startup or working for Meta, Amazon, or some other dang company, companies are paying like $150K, $200K, $250K for these roles to people willing to solve boring, tedious, and painful business problems. Today, I'm going to show you 5 boring tech jobs that pay really well, and they're always hiring and way easier to break into than you think. One of these is literally how I built my career in tech, but to see that, you gotta watch all the way till the end of the video. Now, before I dive in, these jobs aren't paid so well because they're hard. It's because they're critical to business needs. You might have heard something in the background. That was my laundry. Pay it no mind. Anyway, back to the video. These paid jobs are not so highly paying because they're hard. It's because they solve a critical business need. If these jobs fail, things like revenue falls or stops. Systems break, companies get fined, or data gets exposed. And when something is boring and expensive to mess up, companies will throw money at it to solve that problem. So the first one, and I know several people in this exact title, Salesforce Admin or Salesforce Consultant. The pay range can differ from anywhere from 90K to 180K, depending on where you're at. If you're in California and Silicon Valley, Los Angeles, the pay is usually north of $150,000 a year. What is it? You manage and customize Salesforce for company. Workflows, dashboards, permissions, reports, you name it, you gotta architect it and make it work for that company in a way that's customized for them. You basically make sure sales teams don't break the system. It's super boring. You're looking through configuration screens all day. Endless requests like, hey, can you add a field? Can you change this drop down? Why did my report break? You get it? Not glamorous. But why does it pay so well? Because Salesforce runs revenue. If Salesforce goes down or gets messy, the whole sales motion stops. Sales conversations cannot happen. Executives panic, and there are over 150,000 companies using Salesforce. And you know what the secret is? There's a massive talent shortage here. And Salesforce literally gives free training on Trailhead. And you can get your administration certification for about $200. 3 to 4 months of focused learning and you're job ready. This is one of the fastest tech careers to break into without knowing how to code. Number 2, Identity Access Management Engineer, or IAM Engineer for short. The pay range can be anywhere from $120,000 to $200,000 and even north of that. Why is this role so critical? You literally control who has access to what, who logs into your company, who can see sensitive data, who gets locked out. You're the digital bouncer gatekeeping crazy stuff for crazy people from hacking into your accounts. You're basically the digital bouncer, but this is boring. Permissions, policies, password resets, endless documentation. These are the sort of requests you're gonna do on a day-to-day basis. It is not sexy at all, but it pays so well because one mistake, a big data breach, could cost a company millions of dollars. Companies would much rather pay you $180,000 or $200,000 than deal with a nightmare like that. How do you break in? Learn platforms like Okta, Azure, Ping, understand SAML or OAuth. Again, 4 to 6 months of learning and you are ready to break into that career. And it pays well. Number 3, Enterprise Integration Engineer. That already sounds boring. Pay range is usually above $150,000 and easily ranges above $220,000 or more every single year. What is it? You make systems talk to each other. Salesforce to SAP, HR tools to finance tools, mergers, migrations, a whole lot of boring chaos. See what I did there? Boring isn't meant to be chaotic, but in this specific role, it is. Some of my friends describe this role as digital plumbing, so like really just cleaning up all of the garbage where you get systems to talk to each other. It's super boring because all you deal with are APIs, data mapping, meetings with people who don't understand tech but make the big decisions in the company. This pays really well because if integrations fail, systems completely stop, and that costs time, money, effort, and energy. And like, it's a great career. It's just super boring. You don't brag about this stuff at a company networking party. I know people who have literally like bought their houses out in cash, out in places like Austin, in New York, in Los Angeles, and a very lucrative role. How do you break into this? Learn MuleSoft, learn Boomi, understand APIs and data formats. This one does take a little bit longer to get into. It's not standard 3 to 4 months. Like, it actually takes folks about 6, 7, 8 months to really be somewhat good at this. And then to get a high paying role or get somebody to break in, you need to really network hard, find that, and showcase your experience. So it's not easy to get into, but once you're in there, you're good for a very long time. Number 4, compliance manager. Now, this is really, really big because compliance is so important in every company, especially big companies. I know compliance managers who are making above $250,000 because when you do systems, when you have a general understanding of how the market works, you need to understand regulatory procedures. This is big in every industry, and getting a good understanding of regulatory procedures will make you a good compliance manager. But this is very boring. You need to look through a lot of desk research, you need to look through contracts, you need to look at old documents like regulations in your industry, and it's just a lot of reading, a lot of consolidating, and making sure your business practices at your company match up to those compliance requirements. This is super important because if you aren't compliant, if companies are not compliant based on the industry they're in, they could get fined millions of dollars. So that's why companies will easily pay you $250K to get rid of that problem or prevent problems altogether. So compliance managers make a lot of money. Compliance analysts make a lot of money. How do you get in? Most of the time you need to have a strong legal background, but if you have a lot of industry expertise, for example, places that are medtech or biotech or even solar, if you have sort of that industry background or contract analysis background, you can get into those companies and they will pay you a lot of money for it. And number 5, my favorite, and I'll be honest, this one's not as boring. This is actually a very fun role. Product marketing manager. This is how I built my career, and I will say that there are parts of it that can feel very tedious. For example, product marketing manager too. You're in the middle of 3 different very crucial teams at a big company. For example, sales, customer success, and product. You're in there talking to all of these teams, distilling down what each of their problems are, and if they're releasing a product, distilling it in a way, creating the messaging, and then deploying that messaging across the whole organization into all of the sales enablement collateral. The fun part about this job is you get to create the messaging, which I love doing. But the more harder, more tactile aspects of this job is that there's a lot of project management involved, there's a lot of delegation involved, and there's a lot of conversations you need to have with several different cross-functional teams to make sure a go-to-market goes smoothly. But a lot of companies need product marketing managers because a lot of the times the software teams are very good at creating product, but they're not necessarily good at selling that product. And so there's like a big knowledge and communication gap between the product team and the sales team. So when that happens, product marketing managers come into the middle and really drive that narrative forward and project manage the execution of a go-to-market. These roles pay anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 and above, depending on where you are. And as you can tell, I'm doing all right financially. So I would highly recommend, if you're in non-coding sectors, to get into that role. How do you get into being a product marketing manager? If you have good adjacent marketing experience, usually the pivot is not so hard. But really, the trick is to interview and talk about your transferable skills during a product marketing interview, which I have many other videos about that you can see. So here's my advice. I've given you those 5 roles. My final advice to you is don't chase cool, chase leverage. Because at the end of the day, if you want to get into tech, it's good to start with a boring role that pays you well. Then build whatever life you actually want. So comment for the role that you want a step-by-step for, and I will make a video about that next. Subscribe if you want realistic tech advice that actually makes you money.